Welcome, everybody, and we are fired up for another sensational college football matchup. Nobody at home today who can stake their claim in this neutral site showdown. We've got a top 25 showdown in this one, both teams with an opportunity to get a statement victory. As we'll see the number 9 team in the country, the LSU Tigers, taking on the 18th ranked team in the land, the Missouri Tigers. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Reese Davis, David Pollack, and Jesse Palmer with me. Guys, it's time to get it going. Missouri ready to kick off to get us underway. He thought about bringing that out for a half second, but he'll take a knee and they'll bring it to the 25. Here comes the offense on first down. The corners are walked up tight. Looking to move it through the air. Throwing right. It's caught downfield. Well, LSU receivers are known for their swagger. That is swagger well earned after that one.
You go outside and you make plays. Like, listen, you have swag, you have confidence, and you usually get a little bit loud, Reese, and like, listen, feed me the rock. So many great LSU receivers in the past, and it's because of that swag.
They stop him almost immediately. Short gain there, and still a little ground to cover to pick up the first. Picked up some yardage with that completion. Now second down. To the air. It's Nussmeier. Using the quick game.
How nice is it in this offense to have your best receiver playing in the slot? You're matching him up against linebackers, against safeties, or nickel corners. Nickel corners are oftentimes the defense's third best cornerback. This guy is virtually uncoverable.
He'll just keep slinging it. Catch in the middle, it's Durham. And he was just a couple of steps away from taking that one even further after the catch. They've done a really good job identifying mismatches, and they find one out of the backfield there.
Reese, I really don't think it's that hard. My guy is better than yours. Find the matchup across the field. Running back's got some speed. Get it in his hands quickly. Throw it to him fast. Let him make somebody miss against a slower guy that's usually a linebacker.
A little pre-snap eye candy for the defense. Fires to the wideout. And he got a hand in there, knocks it away, incomplete.
Yeah, those corner routes are tough to throw for an offense. You try to force it, in between coverage a lot of times, and you could tell it was great defense. Nice job getting the hand in the air, getting it on the football, and making sure that receiver can't make a play on it.
Looking to throw on second down. That pass is incomplete, and they're probably fortunate that it wasn't knocked free for a fumble.
Well, this defense felt coming into the game that if he was going to try to throw from the pocket, they could get to him and affect his accuracy, and they did on that last play.
On third down, going up top. Forced out of the pocket. He'll try to do it himself. Oh, he just avoided taking a big hit with the slide.
QBs want to make those big plays. They want to put up the big stats. But when nothing's there, sometimes you just tuck the ball, get a minimal gain. I like the slide, by the way, too. Get down and don't take a big hit.
This offense wants to establish an aggressive identity. They'll go for it on fourth down. LSU will get a first down.
Well, it's a heck of being conservative, right? I mean, that essentially would have just been a chip shot field goal with where they were on that fourth down. But they decided to go for it, throw it. They're looking for 6. They're going for a touchdown. They are being aggressive.
Moving the running back, forcing the defense to adjust. Back to pass, it's Nussmeier. He's right on target. And he'll haul it in and take it to the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers!
Well, you know this offensive coordinator scripts his opening 10, 15 plays, and he didn't even need that. They went 9 plays and scored a touchdown. Everything working perfectly. They look like a well-oiled machine early in this game offensively.
On to attempt the try. And the extra point is good, and it's 7-0. So it's a 73-yard touchdown drive, and they finish things up with a dart from 24 yards out. About to kick it away after scoring the touchdown. And they desperately wanted to attempt a return, but decided not to. Instead, they'll take the touchback. Offense getting set for first down. They'll move the running back to try to force the defense to adjust. Taking a shot on the first play. And that ball is picked off. He can be dangerous with the ball in his hands, but no room to return that pick, and they'll go on offense from the 21.
Not the start this kid was looking for. Very first pass of the day gets picked off. This is a defense that's got a lot of ball hawks on the back end, and he's got to be real careful with his eyes, not telegraph throws like he did right there. He's going to have to settle in.
The Bayou Bengals will run the offense out onto the field. Looking for a man. It's Nussmeier. And with the completion out to the sideline, they'll pick up a couple.
That's a nice catch, and it's a good job staying in bounds. If the quarterback would just give him a little bit more room, maybe have a little bit more space to make a play, instead, no gain.
Quarterback wants to throw on second down. With the catch, it's Durham. And they'll spot it at the 38, and that'll be plenty for the first down. LSU quick to the line.
It's a really nice play there. The thing about this guy, he forces the defense to have to stay disciplined. You just can't take a play off. He reminds me of an old LSU quarterback that I used to play against, Hurt Tyler. He was a guy that could hurt you throwing the ball, but he was also shifty and he could extend plays. We had a great defense in Florida, full of NFL dudes, but he just never let you feel comfortable because of his athleticism and his dynamic ability. This guy has a little bit of that, too.
From the gun, running back on the move. At the 40, there he goes. He gets it to the 31-yard line. A big play for this offense. LSU moving quickly, going to work again on first down. He's going to pass. Fires to the right. Complete downfield. Gets out of bounds after the big play, and they'll be set up in business with a first and goal. Motion trying to get the defense to show his hand. Wants to throw. It's Nussmeier. Feeling some heat. And he tries to get away, but he cannot. He's taken down. He'll lose a couple.
I think defenses sometimes get frustrated and you want to get blitz happy and because you give up yards. In this day and age, you're going to give up yards. Who cares? This is the area you're going to bow up. Nice job on first down stopping them. A couple more downs here to stay aggressive.
Not able to hook up there, incomplete.
Tell you what, that was a lightning-fast decision. You could tell he knew what he wanted to do right away. Makes the decision, but maybe his footwork wasn't a little bit good, and the pass wasn't where he wanted to put that thing. I know that.
3rd and goal from way back there. The back goes in motion. Looking for the touchdown on 3rd and goal. And that defense gets to him, and down he goes at the 9.
That is how it's done. It's go time in the red zone. 3rd and goal. We need a sack, need a big play. That was a monster sack by the defense. Let's go.
Never a doubt. Right down the middle. And now the lead is even bigger. And no chance at a return here. They'll start this drive at their own 25. Missouri has the offense ready to go on the field. Well, let's see if this drive goes better than the last one. They were in and out quickly after the quick pick, David.
Yeah, first play, big mistake, man. Now, let's get this offense in a little bit of a rhythm. Maybe before you open it up again, Palmer, or do you trust him right away?
He seems to me like the guy maybe that just needs to kind of get into the flow of the game. So maybe you get the running game going here and just give him some easy looks to let him get lathered up.
Caught in the backfield, it's Carroll. He is going nowhere. Stop at the line of scrimmage.
This offense is going to try and stretch the field vertically and horizontally. They did there throwing it to their running back, but the defense, they were in perfect position to make that play for no gain.
Back to pass, it's Cook. Now adjusting. Outside the pocket, lets it go. Or did he find a hole in that secondary? Gets it past the marker for a first down, and that's the way we will wrap up the first quarter. Mizzou coming out with a fresh set of downs.
Next, the end of the first quarter with the score LSU 10, Missouri 0.
First down to start the drive after the break. They keep attacking through the air. He's going to let it go. And it falls incomplete, and the offense is lucky to have it. Defender right there almost had it in his grasp. It's pretty clear he didn't care about the double coverage. He thought his guy was better than their 2 guys.
Well, and there's reason to think that. That dude's a stud, and I understand it. I want to find ways to get him the football, but when it's 2-on-1, I might think about looking somewhere else.
Trying to move the sticks on 3rd down through the air. Grabbed over the middle. It's Cooper. Offenses gain momentum with 3rd down conversions like that. They've got it at the 25. I was starting to think about what they would do if they didn't pick up the first down here, but I guess that's a moot point now.
Moot point for sure, and the head coach was probably telling them 4-down territory, we're going to kick a field goal, whatever the next decision was good.
Here comes the rush, and they've got it wrapped up at the 28. The Tigers in the hurry-up. From the gun, they'll try to impose their will. Headed to the end zone, and he waltzes in for the score. Touchdown, Tigers! That running back just had a caravan of blockers to take him into the end zone.
There's not very many times at home, Reese, where I'm going to say that everybody watching on their couch could have scored on that play. This is one of them.
He'll try to tack on one more. And with the extra point, the lead is cut to 3. It's 10-7. They marched 78 yards down the field, and he finished it with a scintillating 28-yarder to the house. What kind of field position can he help them with on the return? Didn't find any crease in that kickoff coverage, and he'll be stopped at the 17. LSU will dive into the playbook here on offense. They had to settle for the chip shot field goal last time, Jesse. They'd love for this one to pay off bigger.
Yeah, it just comes down to execution, too. Did a nice job out in the field, stalled a little bit once they got down to the goal line, so they just need to be a little bit more crisp here.
All kinds of running room. He's at the 40, the 20. And he got away from the defense and takes it in. Touchdown, Tigers.
Man, this guy is such a weapon because he's so dangerous if he gets into the second level. Great vision, and then David shows you the speed.
Just straight wheels, erasing angles. A lot of times when you're chasing guys that are so fast like this, you're like, I got him, I got him. No, I do not. What a big, long touchdown run. Pad those stats, young fella.
And with the extra point, they're now up by a touchdown and a field goal at 10. The kickoff team out there set to boot it away.
17.
Fielded in the end zone, it's Johnson. Rolling the dice to bring it out of the end zone did not work out as he stopped at the 13. Mizzou has it back on the offense coming out on the field. The deficit here is just 10 points, David, so a chance to answer here.
Plenty of time left in this football game. No need to panic. This offense just has to put a couple drives together. And listen, the defense will get this back and get some stops, Palmer, and get you the football back.
And I think here too, David, you have an opportunity to keep the pressure on the opponent. Yeah, they just went down and scored, but
he'll take the deep shot. And they can't make the connection, going for a big play on first down.
You know the saying, no risk it, no biscuit. If you want big plays on offense, you've got to be able to take shots. They didn't hit that one, but moving ahead in the second half, expect this offense to keep dialing them up.
Second down coming up. The receivers often will run their route based on a side adjustment. Right back to the air on 2nd and 10. Scrambling away. And the quarterback brought some time, but not enough. Down he goes with the sack. On 3rd and long, hoping to throw beyond the sticks. He's going for a big play downfield. Picked off. Takes it the other way. And after the interception return, he gets it down to the 32-yard line.
Third in Africa is extremely difficult. When I know it's a passing situation, I get to rush the passer and pin my ears back. I get to put more DBs on the field to drop back and really play pass coverage. You can tell the offense was trying to force it, trying to get that first down, makes the big mistake.
Going up top on first down. And they couldn't make the connection on the long shot.
Well, even though that pass was incomplete, I wouldn't be shocked if this defense in the second half decides to play some deeper coverages. This offense has already shown they're willing to be aggressive, and they've got a lot of speed. Moving forward, this defense cannot afford to give up big plays in the passing game.
Looking downfield, it's Nussmeier. And it'll be incomplete. This is some physical pass defense.
Well, that looked like it was going to be a completion, but how about the defender making the hit, forcing the incompletion?
And they don't want to waste this great field position here on 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Throws to the tight end. It's complete. The stop is made, but this offense is threatening 1st and goal from the 9.
And the defense has to be kicking themselves for allowing the first down there. You're just maybe going to give them a few yards and let them set up for a field goal. Instead, you let them move the chains, and now they're knocking on your door 1st and goal.
Give him 6. Touchdown, Bayou Bengals. Lining up to tack one more onto that lead. And with the extra point, they now have a 3-possession lead at 17. Almost ready to kick it away after scoring the touchdown.
Missouri, 7.
It bounds through the back of the end zone. It'll be a touchback. Missouri has the offense ready to go on the field. After giving up that score, now it's incumbent on this offense to kind of get a back and forth going, Jesse, in this game.
They got to put some points on the board here. There's obviously a lot of football to go, so it's not necessarily panic time just yet, but I'm getting the ball into the hands of my best playmakers on this drive.
I hear you, Jesse, but not panic time. Have you seen my defense? I mean, I'm not trusting them to get a lot of stops, so he puts a lot of pressure on this offense.
Looking to throw, it's Cook. Pressure coming. And they get to the quarterback and knock him down back at the 16. Missouri gets to the line quickly. Now the quarterback changing the original play call. On 3rd and long, he'll need to loosen up that arm. On the move, he fires. Got him, and nobody's close. And the tackle is made, but not before that completion gets them 30+. Missouri has it ready to go with another first down.
I know it's early in the game, but defensively after that play, you know you have to tackle the catch. When this guy gets the ball in his hands, he is so dangerous.
Always a welcome play for the defense as they get a sack at the 47. These guys are bringing serious heat. They are like sharks swarming and just getting after the passer. He's going to pass on 2nd down. And that is interception number 3 on the day. And he's brought down, and this defense gets the ball back for its own.
Back-to-back possessions, 2 forced turnovers, 2 interceptions. Defenses are salivating. That gets you excited. I'm the next guy trying to make a big play. I'm bragging about it if I've already got one big. But if I'm the other guys, I'm like, wait a minute, I got to get me one too.
The Bayou Bengals will run the offense out onto the field. This has been exactly the way you draw things up, David. The offense has really been moving the football.
And it's been great execution. They've done exactly what they've wanted to do. Build the lead. Now Palmer's a different animal. Now you got to protect it.
You can tell they were...
And he pulls it in inside the 15-yard line. Touchdown LSU! And they add 6 more to the board with that trip to the house.
Man, how hard is it to defend when you have a weapon like this at running back that can play wide receiver? You can design ways to get the football in his hand. Palmer, once you get it in his hands, he'll do the rest.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and oftentimes those are easier throws for quarterbacks. And these running backs, they're just naturally so good when they have the football out in space. Their vision, their creativity, their ability to make people miss. And this guy showed you right there, a difficult guy to stop now if you're this defense moving forward.
And he made the extra point without problem. That's the kind of drive everybody loves. So see quarterback, 1 snap, put it in the end zone. About to kick it off after punching it in for the touchdown. And it'll be a touchback. The ball will come out to the 25-yard line. Mizzou has it back in the offense coming out on the field. They face a pretty tall mountain here, Jesse, down 24, but if they're going to climb it, this is a good time to start.
Sense of urgency's got to be big.
They get enough rush, and it pays off. The sack at the 20. 2nd down here, and maybe they've got time to get 1 more snap off before the 2-minute warning. They've already racked up big sack numbers. It's starting to snowball, and they are ready to go again. To the air, it's Cook. Trying to make magic with his feet. A really nice run and gain, and he gets down to avoid taking punishment. Missouri wants to go fast. Receivers telling the quarterback what they see. They'll snap it from the gun on 3rd down. Looking to scramble. He'll let it go down the right side. Oh, did he find a hole in the defense? And he gets a big chunk of yardage to the 34-yard line. The feel of this whole drive changed on that last big play. They've got it 1st and 10 outside the 30. He wants to throw. He's going up top. And it slips through his fingers, incomplete. That would have been a huge gain if he could have squeezed it. On 2nd down, they'll take to the air. Fires to the right. Just flying through the air like a superhero to make the grab. Timeout called here by the defense. It's their first of the half. Now down to the 12-yard line. It's 1st down. He wants to throw it again. Looking for the score. And he was going for the touchdown there, and they couldn't make the connection. Going to work in the red zone, they can't pick up the 1st down without getting it into the end zone. The defense going to stop the clock with a timeout. They want to make sure they have everybody on the same page. It'll be 2nd down, and remember, they can pick up a first without scoring. They'll go back to the air on 2nd down. Makes the catch. And he goes down right there, but a solid pickup, and it'll be a 1st down. They'll try to run it in. And he takes it in for the score. Touchdown, Missouri!
A nice job by this offense, putting the scoring drive together. And now listen, it's not even halftime yet, so keep fighting. Going to halftime, regroup. We found a little something on this drive. See if we can cut into this lead and continue to make this game closer and closer.
Lining up to cover the kick after that touchdown drive. And it'll come out to the 25. No attempt at a return. LSU will dive into the playbook here on offense. He wants to start this drive with a pass. Quick strike complete. Excellent job working through the air. They're finding a hole in that defense and picking up a 1st down. And the Tigers headed quickly to the line. Back to throw, it's Nussmeier. He's got his man. And he'll run across the sidelines after the good gain. And an empty backfield here on 2nd and short. He's looking to throw. And he got smacked just as he released the pass. It's incomplete.
That's what this defense has to do, guys. They've got to knock this quarterback down to the ground. He's already thrown a couple of TDs. The only way you're going to stop that is with good quarterback pressure.
They're going to try to throw for it on 3rd down. And it goes through his hands. Oh, he had an explosive play right there for the taking, but couldn't reel it in.
And I like the aggressiveness on 3rd and short, trying to throw the football, take advantage of a look that they got. They weren't successful, and now it's 4th and short territory. Who knows what they're going to do?
On 4th down, he'll try to toss it. Hit as he throws, and the ball goes right to the ground, incomplete.
And what a job by this defense. Early in the game, you want to set the tone. You want to set your offense up as much as you can. And here in the 1st half now, giving the ball back to them on their side of the field, shutting the 4th down conversion down, sending a message to this offense.
They're going to open this drive with a pass. Pocket starts to collapse. And he was hit just as he was releasing the pass, and it falls to the ground incomplete.
Man, the defense smells blood in the water. You can tell. They are getting to this quarterback over and over and over. They've already sacked him a couple times. They're just winning up front. They almost got another sack on that last play.
After the incompletion, it's second down. Back to throw, it's Cook. Oh, he's going to try to get it all here. And the defense couldn't corral him, and he took it all the way. Touchdown, Tigers.
Man, I tell you what, that passing touchdown, man, that should spark this whole team. Like, the comeback is more than on now. Like, they got the touchdown. They cut into the lead. You want to get a stop and go into the half, get all the juices, all the excitement. And be like, listen, the passing game's rolling. We got this. The comeback's in full effect.
That ball skips through the end zone. It's a touchback, and they'll take over at the 25-yard line. The Bayou Bengals will run the offense out onto the field. They've got time, they've got the lead, and David is sort of like a doctor. First, do no harm.
Do no harm, but also momentum is hard to create and sometimes hard to stop. You have it, so Jesse, don't do anything stupid to create some momentum for the other side.
I think a lot of this comes down to your quarterback and whether or not he's making good decisions in this game. If yes, be aggressive. If not, let's just take the lead into halftime and get ready for the second half.
On second down, he'll let it fly. Snagged in the middle, it's Taylor. Great pickup as they'll keep this drive moving, and they've got it at the 45. The Tigers want to move quickly. Comes out throwing on first down. He's going to fire deep. And he's got it at the 25. And they are pushing the ball down the field. A big pickup on that one, and the tackle is finally made. Time dwindling away as they try to put points on the board right before the half. Dropping back, it's Nussmeier. It is incomplete, and now there are 4 seconds remaining.
Doesn't take this defense a lot of time to get to the quarterback, man. They've got speed all over the place. They hit him so quickly, and because of that, the ball falls incomplete.
They'll use a timeout right before halftime. Maybe time for 1 or 2 more plays. And here on second down, they'll send out the field goal unit to try to get 3 before the break. And it's no good. Lead is still at double digits, but missed a chance to make it bigger. And that'll do it. Here in the second quarter, halftime has arrived, and we head to the studio. Just about set for the second half kickoff. The ball bounces through the end zone, and it will be a touchback. Missouri has the offense ready to go on the field. If they're going to get on top in this game, they're going to have to find a way to get the running game going in the second half.
Agree, so it can create some more balance, some more unpredictability. I feel like this defense has got a good beat on what they're doing, especially if they don't mix it up a little bit. So I do look for a little second half running the football ball out of this group.
And I think the thing, Dave, is they just got to be more physical. I don't think this is a scheme question about trying different run plays. I think it's up to the big fellas up front. They've just got to make the decision that they're going to be tougher here in the second half so that they can win this game.
He's run out of bounds, but a big play on that one, and it'll be a first down.
Yeah, and way to be creative, way to get the ball in the perimeter really quickly, get some speed outside. All you got to do is secure that edge, and you're just trying to get that first down. Nice job, nice play call by the offense.
He's going to run it. Still on his feet at the 45. He turns this into a nice gain and gets down to avoid the hit. Mizzou coming out with a fresh set of downs.
I mean, these quarterbacks nowadays can run so fast. Think about who you've got chasing him. Defensive linemen, those good old defensive tackles, defensive ends, linebackers. They can't catch him because they're faster than them nowadays. So much speed, so much electricity now with these guys.
Scanning the field, it's Cook. Extending the play. Trying to make magic on the scramble. Nice job of avoiding the sack and picking up a few on the run. The Tigers racing to the line in the hurry-up. Quarterback checking off. On 3rd and long, trying to have a big completion here. Catch in the middle, it's Burden. And he makes a grab. Defense draped all over him, and it's 1st and goal at the 9. He's looking to pass. He wants it all. Touchdown, Tiger. And the comeback is on.
The great thing about spreading a defense out, I can see where the blitz is coming from. I can see where they're weak. I can see my matchups. Nice job by the offense, spreading them out, taking advantage of their matchup, and getting in for the score.
And they did tack on the extra point. About to kick it away after scoring the touchdown. The kickoff bounces through the end zone. They'll bring it out to the... LSU will dive into the playbook here on offense. We talk about settling for points, but sometimes when you have to settle for nothing, David, it can be demoralizing.
Yeah, and it can definitely be frustrating. And I think it leads you to say maybe I go for it more. But, Jesse, I think this offense just needs to put another drive together and just finish stronger.
Yeah, and be a little bit less predictable, too, especially as they get closer and closer down to the end zone.
The offense set for a first down play. Back to throw, it's Nussmeier. Got his man quickly. And they're able to make the tackle.
Guys out of the backfield now, it's not just run the ball downfield anymore. You got to be versatile. I got to be able to trust you in the pass game, and I got to be able to throw you the football, and you can do that right there. I know you're going to catch it, and I can depend on you.
He's looking for an open man on second down. And he was drilled just as he released the pass. It's incomplete.
Yeah, and this defense hadn't had a lot of success. This offense has been doing what it wants and will finally get into the QB, finally getting some pressure, finally getting a big hit on him. That'll pay some dividends down the road.
They'll try to get the first through the air. And it's caught inside the 25. And he's brought down after a huge completion. LSU right back to the line. Looking to pass inside the red zone. Grabbed in the middle. It's Durham. And good coverage by the defense, just a short gain. Operating in the red zone here on second down. This time they'll go to the running game. A solid pickup there before the defense is able to make the stop.
And, you know, when we talk about great third down defenses, it really starts with them getting stops on first and second down. You've got to get those stops early in the drives to set up third and long, so that's a missed opportunity on that second down by this defense.
On third and short, they'll try to convert through the air. He snares it in the end zone. Touchdown, LSU! Quick timeout by the defense there, trying to make sure everyone has the same call. They'll try to add another to their lead. And with the extra point, they're now up by a touchdown and a field goal at 10. The kickoff team takes the field to boot this one away. Bounces through the end zone. It's a touchback. They'll bring it out to the 25. Mizzou has it back in the offense coming out on the field. Last time they had it, they took it down the field for a touchdown. They can build some confidence that they could go back-to-back scoring drives here.
Yeah, and remember, it's not uncommon for offenses to find themselves as the game goes on. They had some things not go their way early, but they found something last drive, David. Let's see if they can build on that.
Yeah, you just pick and pick and pick until you find that place where you're like, okay, this is an advantage I have. They clearly found that dude. They scored here. We're in for a ball game.
And this offense can ill afford to come up empty on this drive, already trailing by multiple possessions. Muscling ahead on third and short. And they'll get it to the 39-yard line, and they'll move the chains. Missouri gets to the line quickly. Quarterback reacting to what the D is showing. Trying to find his man on first down. Another interception. This guy just can't find his own players. He is finally out of bounds, but he was smelling that end zone on that return.
And that's just excellent coverage. Man, cover one, nowhere to throw the football. Look at everybody playing man across the board. You still got the safety in the middle of the field. Nobody open, and if I'm the QB, man, I don't need to force it. I don't force it into tight windows if it's not there. He throws it, unfortunately, gets the interception. Bad decision by the QB there.
Brought down at the 26-yard line after a pickup of 10 yards on the play, and it'll be a first down. Wideouts all wadded up in a bunch. Wants to throw on first down. And the quarterback will take a sack back at the 36. So now on 2nd and long, you start to think just don't fall out of field goal range. DBs will try to keep everything in front. To throw, it's Nussmeier. He makes the connection. They make the stop, but not before he takes a chunk out of what they need to move the sticks. DB's locked up tight on the receivers. On 3rd down, he'll try to pick it up through the air. He's got it. There was tight coverage, but a perfect throw and catch, and they've got it at the 9, 1st and goal.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter. With the score, LSU 38, Missouri 28.
Starting off this quarter close enough to smell the goal line.
42 Spider. 4-2 Spider.
They'll use the running game on 1st and goal. And how about that interior defense stuffing the run for nothing?
Yeah, and I love this. If I'm on offense, I'm trying to keep that clock, let it tick down. A field goal here, I'm up by 2 possessions. I'm still in a very good place. I don't have to get over-aggressive, Jesse, if I don't want to.
No, and you can put this game out of reach, too. If you can score a touchdown.
Pulls it in the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers! The offense flexes its muscle a bit and widens the gap.
Take a little exhale. You know, you did your job. You got points. Now you put your defense in a position where, hey, go out and get another stop. We're in great shape, so the offense definitely taking care of their business.
Ready to try the point after. And that extra point is a big one as they now have a 3-possession, 17-point lead in the 4th. Almost ready to kick it away after scoring the touchdown.
28.
The ball squirts through the end zone. That'll be a touchback. They'll bring it out to the 25. Missouri has the offense ready to go on the field. After throwing the pick on the last drive, need to take care of the ball this time, Jesse.
We're going to find out a lot about this quarterback right here, too. How does he fight?
He wants to go deep. And that'll be incomplete. They tried to hit him with a big one on 1st down.
It's a nice adjustment by the defense here. With a big lead in the game, you're putting extra DBs on the field, knowing the offense has to throw to get back in this one in the 4th quarter. So your best cover guys on the field, and they force an incompletion on the last one.
Quarterback checking the play. Dropping back, it's Cook. Going back to the well, another deep ball. Snags it down the right side. And a pickup of better than 30 yards on that completion before the defense brings him down. And the Tigers are in the hurry up. He'll come out throwing on 1st down. Flushed out of the pocket. Fires downfield. Lost the defense, he's wide open. So close to that end zone, he can almost taste it, but it'll be 1st and goal for this offense. The defense going to stop the clock with a timeout. They want to make sure they have everybody on the same page. First and goal, and a great opportunity to slice into this lead. Trying to pound it in. Into the end zone he goes. Touchdown, Missouri! They'll try to tack one more on their score. And it's up and good as they draw just a touch closer.
That's just a mental error. On defense, you got to watch the ball. I understand the quarterback shouting and he's clapping and there's all this crowd noise, but you just got to hone in, watch the football before you come out of your stance.
Getting set for the point after.
Is on for the extra point.
And the PAT will draw them 1 point closer. Quick work on that scoring drive, just 4 plays. And close the deal with a 3-yard touchdown run. So they've got the lead down to 10 here. A little more interesting as they're set to kick it away. And he takes this from inside the 5. Just never had a chance to shake loose, and he'll be brought down at the 24. Bayou Bengals will run the offense out onto the field. Corners showing press. They want to be physical here. Finds his way ahead for 5, and now they've got it at the 28.
It's a point in the game, I think, as a coaching staff where you really challenge your offensive line to go win the football game, right? You've got to lead late. We're going to run the football, and the defense and everybody
fires one high and deep. And he makes the catch inside the 25. And the catch and run into the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers. Thanksgiving turkey. They're just being carved. No shot. They have no idea how to get in this quarterback's head.
He's on fire. Everything he's doing is working defensively. We got to figure something out. We got to try to do something a little bit different. Bring more pressure. At this rate, shoot. He's on so much fire. You might as well just send everybody. Blitz everybody. Live with the results because everything else ain't working anyways.
And that extra point is a big one as they now have a 3-possession, 17-point lead in the 4th. About to kick it off after punching it in for the touchdown. That one bounds through the end zone, and it'll be a touchback. Mizzou has it back in the offense coming out on the field. Looking to go up top on 1st down. Now he's going to break the pocket. Working on the right. They'll get it to the 48. No need to measure it to 1st down. Missouri wants to go fast.
I'll tell you, you cannot count this team out because of who's playing quarterback. When this guy's in the game, it's never over. And yeah, they're trailing here in the 4th quarter, but this dude can put up points quickly.
Finds a man on the left. Ripped off a huge chunk play on that one as he gets the 1st down before he steps out of bounds. They've marched to the red zone, and here they go. Trying to get to him. Just gets rid of it before the heat. He just wisely got rid of that one. The worst thing that can happen to you is to turn it over on 1st down in the red zone.
Well, this guy must feel like he's run into a buzzsaw in this game. He has been under duress all game long, and that's a big reason why he's thrown multiple interceptions in the game, too. Nothing coming easy to him. It's hard to see the field when your internal clock is going off so...
And it's caught! Touchdown, Tigers!
And this quarterback really does a great job of seeing the defense and seeing what kind of coverage they're in. And I think when this offense goes empty and they spread the defense out, it just makes it so much more simple for the QB to see what the defense is doing pre-snap and then post-snap. You can tell he's playing in a great rhythm right now because he's seeing the field, and these empty sets are really helping him out.
Fielded in the end zone. It's Thomas. Gets it out to the 20, about 5 yards short of where he'd be if he'd just taken a knee in the end zone. LSU will dive into the playbook here on offense. They'll run it to keep this clock grinding. Stopped at the 25 after a 5-yard gain.
Well, the offense has the lead, and we call this 4-minute offense. This is a situation that teams around the country practice, having the lead late in the game and needing to ice it by running the football and throwing high-percentage passes.
Dropping back, it's Ncaa. Dances away. And he scoots his way to the first down and then slides to avoid the hit. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. They'll throw it on first down. Fires to the tight end. And he'll step out of bounds after a very productive play. Looking to push the pace with the no huddle.
I love an offense that wants to stay aggressive. Even when you've got the lead late in a game like this, right, you still try to find your playmakers and get them the ball in space, and that is exactly what this offense is doing.
They've got it at the 41, third and short, trying to keep the chains moving. They'll try to pick up the first through the air. Finds the tight end. At the 35, he's got room. Oh, look out. Ripping through the defense. Touchdown, Bayou Bengals. And they take it in for 6 more points.
Well, you know, this guy's a huge weapon catching the football, and David, he's difficult to bring down. What an athlete with his size and speed.
Dude, it's stupid. You want me to play defense now against all these guys and all this speed and skill all over the yard, and then you got a tight end like this who can not only catch it with his big frame and his big body, but do that after the catch. It's just so hard to play defense nowadays.
Lining up to cover the kick after that touchdown drive. It bounds through the back of the end zone, and it'll be a touchback. Missouri has the offense ready to go on the field. Quarterback making adjustments with his receivers. He wastes no time and comes out throwing. He's going for the big play. And he hauls it in inside the 30. And he ran away from the crowd, and he'll take it in. Touchdown, Tigers! This is like a baseball pitcher that can't miss. He is just pounding the strike zone.
Man, it just gets in the zone, right? You can't miss. You've seen quarterbacks get like that no matter what they do. They're on fire. They're hitting the receivers. And listen, that's also on the defense. Defense has to do a better job making him feel uncomfortable, changing what they're doing in coverage so he's a little bit confused. You can't just let him pick you apart.
He'll bring it out. It's Thomas. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. The Bayou Bengals will run the offense out onto the field. Wide receiver coming across in motion. He leaves it with his back. Tried to move that pile forward. He maybe gets 2. He's down at the 21.
Yeah, and a nice job by this defense. This is a critical moment, right? We got to get the football back. They're backed up, thank goodness. Force a punt here, get the football back so we can make some magic here in this fourth quarter.
After picking up a couple, it's 2nd and 8. To the air, it's Ncaa. Quarterback now breaking the field. Makes the grab on the right. And another big game for this offense. They are putting explosive pass after explosive pass up in this one.
Defense just hasn't had an answer for this guy. He has been on point. This is about as good as I've seen him play at the quarterback position. And here in the fourth quarter with the big lead, he's still taking shots.
This will be picked off. Maybe just the turning point they needed. Bringing it back. He's at the 40. At the 20. And he's going to run it all the way back. Touchdown, Missouri! Lining up to add another. And with the extra point, every little bit counts as they get closer. They're sending out the regular kickoff unit. I know they've got a couple of timeouts, but I don't think there's enough time on the clock to pass on the onside kick. He'll start the return inside his 5. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, that they get him on the ground at the 20. LSU will dive into the playbook here on offense. One possession game, getting late, first order of business, just take care of the football.
So they call this situation 4-minute offense, where you're trying to run the football and throw high percentage passes to maintain possession and bleed the clock. This is a very difficult point of the game to execute at a high level, though.
Yeah, and listen, what you understand as an offense is if I get 1 or 2 first downs, this ball game's over. And that's your sole objective. Not scoring, take care of the football, get a few first downs, walk out with the dub.
And ball security at this point is at a premium for this offense. You're backed up in your own end. You've got the lead, so you want to be able to run the football and stay on the field, bleed the clock. But you know the defense is going to be ripping away at it, right? They're going to be trying to get hats to the football and forcing a fumble. So whoever's got the ball has got to have 2 hands on it this drive.
Looking to the big tight end. Makes a connection. That defense got gashed, but they finally get him to the turf at the 47.
And if I'm a defense, I got to find a way to get some more pressure on the quarterback or disrupt their timing and their rhythm. I can't give them these big chunk plays through the air. I got to be maybe a little bit more aggressive or do something a little bit different.
Looking for a crease. It's Durham. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. Quick timeout called by the defense, stopping the clock to save as much time as possible for their offense. I'd expect we're going to get another dose of the running game at this point, even though it's 2nd and 11. They'll try the run. The defense makes the stop. Defense uses a timeout quickly, trying to get that ball back and preserve time for their offense. Corners right up on that line of scrimmage. Looking for a man. It's Nussmeier. And this is going to be incomplete on 3rd down.
Well, I know that one fell incomplete, but what a day this guy's had throwing the football. Multiple touchdowns, and he's done a really nice job with his decision-making. Hasn't thrown any picks, which has really helped keep this offense on schedule.
They'll keep the offense on the field on 4th down already with a 1-possession lead. Wide receiver now comes in motion. Desperate to convert, and he'll throw it. He's got a first down and maybe a lot more. Slammed to the ground, but not before he gets the first down. Sometimes we don't give enough credit to a receiver knowing exactly where he needs to be on the field, and they pick up the first down there.
Yeah, and you've got to give the receiver credit, obviously knowing where that is, but the defender needs to know where it is too. Where is he trying to get? That ball's going to come out quick. He didn't really understand where the sticks were, and because of that, he gives up the first down. Need to just be a little bit more aware as a defensive guy.
LSU getting set on 1st and 10. Leaves it with the running back. able to pick his way forward for a decent game before the defense gets him down. They get the timeout call with 7 seconds left on the clock. 6-yard pickup on first down leaves them with 2nd and 4. DB's right up on the receivers. He wants to throw here on 2nd down. And he will wisely throw it to the kid playing the tuba.
And that goes down as an incompletion, but that's a smart play. And the QB coach and the OC will be very happy with the decision of the quarterback. He got outside the pocket. He obviously was he's outside the tackle box, as he knew he could throw it away as long as he got it past the line of scrimmage. Nothing there, nothing open. Live to fight another down.
Well, points weren't the issue, guys, but they couldn't string together enough stops to get the victory.
Yeah, good news, bad news scenario, I guess. Good news is you're going to score. This offense looks like they can be explosive and they can light up the scoreboard. Bad news, though, David, they've got a lot to clean up on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and welcome to college football nowadays, right? This is how it works, a ton of points. Defenses learn as you go, but you got to get better. You got to force some turnovers, create those negative plays. Just can't give up so many points.
That's going to do it for us from here. For Jesse Palmer, David Pollack, I'm Reese Davis, and this has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.